And privilege to announce that I will nominate Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the United States Supreme Court.
Judge Kavanaugh of the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, the father of two daughters, a longtime fixture in Washington Republican law and politics. He served on Ken Starr's investigation of Bill Clinton and was staff secretary in the George W. Bush White House. Before all that, he clerked for the justice he was chosen to succeed, a point he mentioned first in his remarks tonight.
Mr. President, I am grateful to you, and I'm humbled by your confidence in me. Thank you. 30 years ago, President Reagan nominated Anthony Kennedy to the Supreme Court. The framers established that the Constitution is designed to secure the blessings of liberty. Justice Kennedy devoted his career to securing liberty. I am deeply honored to be nominated to fill his seat on the Supreme Court.
Judge Kavanaugh promised to keep an open mind in every case, and though he has never expressed outright opposition to the 1973 Roe v. Wade decision, he was vetted by the Conservative Federalist Society on that and other social issues. Judge Kavanaugh does not have any paper trail to speak of on marriage rights. He's on record, however, on the question of whether a president should be shielded from civil and criminal litigation until they leave office. He's written that they should, and that could, of course, become very consequential. In any event, as you saw at the top, his nomination has sparked protests already, and already lobbying is underway by the White House to overcome it. The target, wavering Republicans and red state Democrats. Our Phil Mattingly joins us now from Capitol Hill. So what's the reaction there you're getting so far?
Yeah, Anderson, to get a kind of sense of the dynamics on Capitol Hill right now, you need only look to the two leaders in the Senate. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell calling Judge Kavanaugh a very impressive nominee, well qualified for the position. On the other side, Democratic Leader Chuck Schumer saying he will oppose Judge Kavanaugh's nomination with, quote, everything he has, and he hopes a bipartisan majority will join him. The reality here is this. The vast majority of Republicans in the Senate Republican Conference will align with Senator Mitch McConnell. The vast majority of Democrats in the Democratic caucus, they will align with Chuck Schumer in opposing the nomination. What it really all comes down to right now is 5 senators, 2 Republicans, Senator Susan Collins, Senator Lisa Murkowski, who are very key on abortion rights. That will be a big issue for them. On the Democratic side, 3 Democratic senators, all of whom voted for Judge Neil Gorsuch, all of whom are in tight re-election battles in Trump-won states, Joe Donnelly in Indiana, Heidi Heitkamp in North Dakota, and Joe Manchin in West Virginia. They will be key in the weeks ahead, Anderson. They will be the senators to keep a close eye out for, and they will be the senators who will likely decide if Judge Kavanaugh becomes Justice Kavanaugh over the course of the next couple of months.
I mean, both sides clearly are ready for a fight with the confirmation process. How's it going to play out, in the coming weeks?
Yeah, look, this is going to be a bruising battle. I've talked to several sources with outside groups, one of whom told me expect tens of millions of dollars to be dumped in on both sides, trying to pressure both the Republican senators and those Democratic red state senators to come around to one side or the other. The reality, when you look at the dynamics that are currently at play right now, is this is going to be a bruising battle, but not one that's going to be done anytime soon. It will be a process of about 8 or 9 weeks, I'm told. It will start tomorrow. Vice President Mike Pence will join Judge Kavanaugh in his first meetings with senators. And these aren't necessarily pro forma meetings. These closed-door meetings may be crucial to how senators end up deciding where they're going. After that, there will be the Senate Judiciary Committee holding a hearing, and then towards the end of September, I'm told, will be the final vote. I think the key issue right now is when you talk to Democrats, it's all about health care and abortion rights. When you talk to Republicans, it's all about keeping things on track. Remember, Anderson, Republicans, if they stay unified, if all 50 present Republicans vote in support of the nomination, he will be confirmed. If 1 or 2 start to peel off, that's where those red state Democrats become extremely key. You mentioned a key issue here that I'm told Democrats are keeping a very close eye on, a very lengthy paper trail from Judge Kavanaugh's time in the Bush administration. Expect Democrats to key on that and more than anything else, as I noted, health care, abortion rights. Those are the 2 issues they want to talk about. Those are the 2 issues they want to bring to the forefront. While they recognize, Anderson, on their own, they can't block the pick. Their belief, and when you talk to top Schumer allies, their hope is that they can drive some type of grassroots reaction to this to help not only keep their red state Democrats unified with the rest of the caucus, but also peel off at least one of those possible Republicans to come to their side, Anderson.
All right, Phil Mattingly. Phil, thanks very much. The upcoming confirmation hearings, no doubt, going to be closely watched, not just from the left, but also by conservatives, many of whom see new members as an opportunity to revisit a string of court decisions on a range of hot-button cultural issues. Joining us tonight, former Republican Senator and presidential candidate Rick Santorum. Senator Santorum, first of all, your reaction to Kavanaugh's nomination tonight. Are you pleased with the choice?
Look, I thought all four of the candidates were extremely well qualified and have tremendous records. Certainly Judge Kavanaugh has as big a record as anybody out there, and as someone who I think overall is certainly qualified for the job. I think there were concerns from someone, frankly, even on the right, that his record on some of the issues that you talked about hasn't really been out there, and that the fact that he is such a long-term D.C. type of person that's raised some concerns from across the country. So I think he has a little bit to prove there, but I don't think it's going to be a big hurdle for him. But the fact that he is sort of a creature of Washington is probably from the right the biggest drawback in his nomination at this point.
You were a vocal advocate for Judge Hardiman. You talked to people in the administration on Capitol Hill, not only leading up to the nomination, but during the last vacancy before Gorsuch was nominated. I think you've known Hardiman for 25 years. Have you gotten any reaction from him tonight?
Look, I mean, I talked to Tom, just after I got off the show here about an hour ago, and he. This morning when he got the call, he said, look, let me help Brett. I think Brett will be a great justice, and he'll do whatever he can to be supportive of him. And Tom's just he's a great guy. He's someone who I think respects the jurisprudence of Judge Kavanaugh, and I don't disagree with that. I think he's certainly a very, very bright man, and simply has a great record. And the area that I think that the administration, at least from my take, is made the decision is the president really wants to go after the administrative state. I mean, that's a really important issue to him. It's an important issue to his base, and there's probably no one who has a bigger record on that, and certainly been as aggressive on that as Judge Kavanaugh. So I think he's itching for a fight on going after the power of the government. This whole Chevron deference case, which I'm sure has been discussed here. That to me is really part of why the president picked Judge Kavanaugh, to make sure that we had someone who was going to really focus the nomination on those issues, maybe not some of the other issues that you talked about earlier.
I mean, obviously, look, you know better than anyone how contentious the Senate confirmation process can be. Is Kavanaugh going to face a tougher confirmation battle than others would? I mean, because, as you said, because of the sheer volume of documents from the 12 years he's had on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit?
Yeah. It's not really as much, I don't think, as much as his volume of work in the D.C. Circuit. I mean, Judge Hardiman had more opinions than Judge Kavanaugh. I think it's really the other things that he did, Whitewater and the Clinton impeachment. I mean, the Bush White House. I mean, there's literally millions of pages of documents they're going to have to review, and that's sort of the question. Is there something out there? Is there some sort of smoking gun? Now, obviously, I'm sure the administration has done a great job in looking at the background and those sorts of things, but that's the only the only thing is just the volume of things that Judge Kavanaugh's been involved in is something that should cause a little concern. But I'm not saying there's something out there. I'm just saying that that's something that people have to be concerned about.
Senator Santorum, stay with us if you can. I want to bring in our legal or political panel: David Axelrod, Larry Borger, Dana Bash, Jeffrey Toobin, Jim Schultz. Jeff, let's start off with you. What do you make of this pick? I mean, you obviously have been, very publicly saying you think abortion will become illegal within 18 months in 20 states.
I do. I think Donald Trump promised the conservative movement during the campaign in very explicit terms, in interviews, in the debates with Hillary Clinton. He said, I will appoint pro-life justices who will vote to overturn Roe v. Wade. I think what he meant by that was he will appoint pro-life justices who will vote to overturn Roe v. Wade. And I think that's what he's done. He's got two of them. I think this nomination is more consequential than the Gorsuch nomination because he's replacing Anthony Kennedy, who voted in favor of abortion rights, who voted in favor of same-sex marriage, who voted in favor of affirmative action. I think all those things are out the window now. I mean, I think elections have consequences, and this consequence is going to be enormous for the country.
What about the implications for the Mueller investigation?
I think, one of the really remarkable things about Judge Kavanaugh is that he has expressed, not that on many subjects he's been pretty circumspect. On this one he hasn't. That presidents should be shielded from investigations, that they should be shielded from questioning, they should be shielded from having to produce documents, and of course they should be shielded from being indicted. And, I don't think Donald Trump is much of a legal scholar, but I bet that law review article that he wrote on that subject jumped out at the president. He said, you know what, I like that.
Yeah, I want to put that actually up on the screen and ask Jim about it. Even the lesser burdens of a criminal investigation, including preparing for questioning by criminal investigators, are time-consuming and distracting. He went on to say, and a president who is concerned about an ongoing criminal investigation is almost inevitably going to do a worse job as president.
And if I could just add one point, I mean, he didn't say that when he was investigating Bill Clinton. When he was investigating Bill Clinton, he didn't care about how busy Bill Clinton was. So I think there's a creepiness about the timing there too.
Not riddled
by
guilt.
Creepiness or creepiness?
Creepiness.
Okay.
Creepy.
It's
It's a legal phrase you may not be familiar
Jim,
with.
do you think this has a big implications on the Mueller investigation?
Look, the Office of Legal Counsel opinion is clear that the president can't be indicted while he's sitting as president. Mueller has, there's been reports that Mueller has said that he agrees with the Office of Legal Counsel memo. This is not something new. And I think the fact that Judge Kavanaugh has that opinion is not, he's been through it. He understands it. And I don't think it's all that creepy because he's been through it and he understands it. So I think there's a very, a person.
Is it weird, though, that he's been through it on the other side? I mean, doing the investigation?
Sure. No, I don't think it's weird because you learn from your experiences, right? And he's come out and made these observations in the wake of what he worked on under Judge Starr. And I don't find it all that surprising or intriguing or, the fact of the matter is that this investigation's taking its course, and it's going to run its course, and the investigation is ongoing. The investigation isn't going to stop because Judge Kavanaugh is confirmed as Justice Kavanaugh.
Well, there is a question, and Michael Zeldin raised this earlier in the evening about whether Judge Kavanaugh would have to recuse himself because he's